see the first tower hit, or if he did see the first tower hit, he was one of the few people in the world that seen it. If he's got a TV in his limo that was trained on the World Trade Center at the time the first tower was hit, I would find that to be some interesting news. So there are so many things that encompass the reason that the government's version does not hold water. One, September 10th, the day before, Rumsfeld in a press conference said $2.3 trillion had been lost at the Pentagon, which just fell through the memory hole and was never talked about again after September 11th. Brian Norad stood down. We talked to retired Lieutenant Colonel Bob Bowman Monday night. He said this was, again, a retired Lieutenant Colonel in the Air Force, said it was absolutely against any kind of protocol to have this kind of event take place. We've got a plane that flew all the way 5 states away to Ohio, turned around and flew into the Pentagon totally unabated. Explain that to me.
And shut his transponder off, which of course is a red flag, and there was nothing done about it. This is the first time in U.S. history that we didn't launch fire interceptors to see what was going on. And Payne Stewart, remember his airplane?
Ralpher?
Yeah. They lost cabin pressure. Everybody on the airplane had passed out, and his airplane just kept flying by itself off course. And there were interceptors up there within 15 minutes.
And when me and Brian decided, we were going to go through this again this year, last year we spent a month on it. This time we're only spending an hour. But we were going to only discuss irrefutable facts. I do not know what happened at the Pentagon. I do know the government refuses to release the footage. I've been to the Pentagon. Not only does everyone have cameras are everywhere. Why will the government not release the footage? We know that they have it. It doesn't make any sense. Also, the passports of the terrorists were found. So they would have us believe that a passport made out of paper flew out of the hijacker's pocket, morphed through the fireball, somehow through the entire building that collapsed, and then cascaded over onto a sidewalk to be picked up by FBI in practically pristine condition. This is the government's version.
Just laying on the sidewalk, this is after the free fall collapse of both towers. I mean, imagine the debris laying around.
Well, it defies any kind of common sense or logic, and the media, of course. Now, let me tell you what happened to me. I did not trust the government on September 11, 2001. When I saw the first tower was hit on TV, I thought a pilot had went off course too. When the second tower was hit, I left work, I went home, I taped the news that whole day, and I started watching it back the following day. And when I started watching back what the news had actually shown on day one, and that they were never showing again, like World Trade Center 7, and we're going to get into that, I knew something was bad wrong. And, of course, the media, a lot of the things that they shown the first day, they did not show the second day, or they did not show in the news later. Now, when we come back after this next break, we've got a clip we're going to play, but we'll save it till after this break. But World Trade Center 7, the World Trade Center was a complex. Most people don't even know that. World Trade Center 7 was not hit by a plane, and it cascaded down in 10 seconds, and the NIST report was from fires. This was a 47-story structure that fell straight down in 10 seconds. So the government would have you believe that 2 planes brought down 3 buildings in roughly 10 seconds free fall speed. Then later, we find out that the BBC, CNN, and several different other reporting agencies were reporting World Trade Center 7 fell 20 minutes before it did. Okay, they're saying World Trade Center 7 has fell at 5:20, or actually about 5 o'clock on September 11th. The building's still standing. Why would this happen? Because the media was ahead of their script. That's the only thing that makes sense. Why in the world would they report a building that collapsed that was still standing? Very bizarre. So we're going to get into some other issues on this after the next break. But any of the other things you'd like to mention, the anomalies, Brian? We've got a couple minutes left.
Obviously, again, the NORAD, and we had gone into that again with Bob Bowman, retired Air Force. He was actually head of the United States Star Wars program at one time. He flew 100 combat missions in Vietnam. He knows what he's talking about, folks, and he thinks this is absolutely an inside job of some kind. No, we don't have all the answers, but there's plenty of gaping holes in this official story that need to be exposed for what they are. They're hiding something. We don't know what they're hiding, who was involved. We don't have those answers, but something happened that they're not telling us.
Yes, it makes absolutely no sense, no more sense than the assassination of JFK. We've got pilots for 9/11 Truth. We've got architects for 9/11 Truth. We've got engineers for 9/11 Truth. We've got victims' family members that are for 9/11 Truth. So when we come out here and we question this event, we're doing it on behalf of the victims' families. Everyone comes up, oh, you're disrespecting the victims' families. The victims' families are the ones that have asked that the truth come out. And to facilitate the cover-up is treasonous. And the government has lied to us before. Look at the weapons of mass destruction lie George W. Bush told us that got us into this war. 9/11 is no different. Why did they do 9/11? To justify war with whoever they choose, to march us into a new world order, and to take our rights here at home. And in that respect, it has worked perfectly, people. And anyone that says the government would not be involved in killing 3,000 people, I direct you to World War II. 3,000 Americans were killed when the first bomb was dropped on Hiroshima. So if you put together all the MK Ultra mind control experiments and other things that the federal government's done against the citizens of America, this is just another nail in the coffin. So we're going to be coming up on a break. After that, we're going to go into Flight 93, the flight that does not get much reporting, fell through the memory hole, very little released on it on 9/11. We're going to discuss that, and then we are looking forward to getting your phone calls later this hour.
The PNAC document, Project for New American Century, specifically stated we need a catalyzing/catastrophic event to facilitate our new world order.
A new Pearl Harbor was their exact words, and they got it. All right, we're coming up on a break. We'll be back here on the Real News with Farron and Brian after a word from our sponsors. All right, we are back on the Real News Radio with Farron and Brian, and we're going to discuss Flight 93 now. This is the flight that crashed in Pennsylvania, something that everyone focuses on the events in New York or the Pentagon. A lot of people are not aware of this event right here as far as Flight 93 and the many anomalies that take place. So this video is on our website right now. I urge everyone to look at it for themselves, because seeing it is another, is a little more than just listening to it. But the government's version of Flight 93, and a lot of people say, well, it was shot down. Well, if it was shot down, then the government's lying to us. Okay? But Flight 93 crashed. There's no plane, no bodies, no seats, no engines. Well, there's no plane. And the government would have us believe that the plane evaporated into a hole. Now, I have said before I'm no mathematician. I'll admit I'm no rocket scientist. I'm just a local window tender here in Statesville, North Carolina. But growing up in my whole life, when there was plane crashes, well, there was a plane at the crash. And I would forebode that in this event there should be the same thing. So we are going to play that clip now. This is from 2001, actual news on that day on the ground at the crash site of Flight 93. So let's go ahead and roll that now.
The debris here is spread over a 3 to 4 mile radius, which has now been completely sealed off and is being treated, according to the FBI, as a crime scene. Governor Tom Ridge made some remarks earlier at a press conference. He had flown over the site. He said the emergency response here was immediate. He also said, and I don't know whether or not you all are able to see pictures of this, but this is one of those cases where the pictures really do tell the story, that sort of the most horrifying aspect of this particular crash scene is how little debris is visible. There is a large crater in the ground, and I'm hoping that you all are seeing it as I'm talking about it, but that's really all you see, is a large crater in the ground and just tiny, tiny bits of debris. There's been at least one report that the investigators out there, and there are hundreds of them, as I said tonight, have found nothing larger than a phone book.
I want to get quickly to Chris Kanicki. He's a photographer with the Pittsburgh affiliate of Fox affiliate. He was back there just a couple of minutes ago, and Chris, I've seen the pictures. It looks like there's nothing